Hello. I am out of breath because I just got back from walking. I went to therapy this morning, very important, but I was like 10 minutes early for my therapy appointment. But the nice thing about the place where I go to therapy, I'm so out of breath from walking, is that there's lots of charity shops on the same road where I go to therapy. So I'm ever early, I just pop into the charity shops and look what I found. I have both of these books on my TBR, but I was planning to borrow them from the library, but I saw them and they were like £1.50 each, and so I just bought them. And that is these two books by Colleen Hoover. I'm sure neither of them are going to be 5 stars, but I've heard so much about these and my curiosity's piqued, and they sound like quick, fun books, and I want to see what the hype's all about, and I'm just really intrigued to read them. This one, firstly, this cover is beautiful. I absolutely love it. I love that this is gold, and I love this like spirograph tangle thing. It's like a thriller about a writer whose wife has gone mad. I don't even know, but it sounds really intriguing from what I've heard. And then the other one is It Ends With Us, which sounds like a toxic love story. But you know what? Occasionally a girl just wants to read a toxic love story and fall in love with a toxic man. It's not healthy, don't do it in real life, but it's fun to read about occasionally.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
So I think I'm going to read this now, and that's what this video is I want to read this today because I finished the book I'm currently reading. The next book I want to read I'm waiting on in my library app, and it's going to take like another 2 days. So in the meantime, I think I'm going to read this book. Okay, let me read you the blurb because I actually couldn't tell you what this book is about. I just know that it's about a toxic love story and everyone says it's great. And I'm just really intrigued to read it. And I'm just really in the mood. I finished reading recently Red, White and Royal Blue, and I absolutely loved it, and it's made me want to read royal romance. And I feel like this is going to have some drama in it, and it's going to be very fast-paced and fun, and it'll probably make me emotional, and that's kind of what I'm in the mood for, you know? I'm not going to give this 5 stars. We're hoping for 4, but it'll probably be a 3, but I think it'll just be fun.
Honey?
But anyway, let me read you the blurb because I actually have no clue what this is about. Sometimes the one who loves you is the one who hurts you the most. So this is what I mean, toxic AF. That's just not how we are relationships. Lily hasn't always had it easy, but it's never stopped her from working hard for the life she wants. She's come a long way from the small town in Maine where she grew up. She graduated from college, moved to Boston, and started her own business. So when she feels a spark with gorgeous neurosurgeon named Ryle Kincaid, everything in Lily's life suddenly seems almost too good to be true. I love that he's a neurosurgeon. That's sexy. Ryle is assertive, stubborn, and maybe even a little arrogant. See, he's going to be a toxic white man.
A white man? No!
He's also sensitive, brilliant, and has a total soft spot for Lily, but Ryle's complete aversion to relationships is disturbing. As questions about her new relationship overwhelm her, so do thoughts of Atlas Corrigan, her first love and a link to the past she left behind. He was her kindred spirit, her protector. When Atlas suddenly reappears, everything Lily has built with Ryle is threatened. Fun love triangle. We have like the new lover that's a bit toxic, and then we have the old lover. I'm betting he's going to be even more toxic. So I think this is going to be a quick, easy romance read.
Honey?
Also, can we appreciate that my nails, like these nails, perfectly match the thing. I feel like the purple goes quite well as well because we've got this like orchid. Like my nails actually match this book. How wild is that? I did not plan this. I've already filmed like 6 minutes. I'm going to stop now, and I will update you once I've started reading It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Hello, good morning. It is now the next morning. And last night I managed to read up to page 124 of It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I just didn't film an update last night because the lighting was really bad and I was really tired and I just wanted to go to bed, but I did read. So I thought I would start today by giving you my thoughts on what I've read so far in this book. I don't even know where to start. The first thing that I feel like needs to be said is that like this is not a good book. It's not literary, it's a cheap thrill, you know? We didn't come here for well-written plots. We came here for moody men and steamy romance, and it's doing its job. It's fulfilling those things. But I wouldn't say that it's like a good book. I feel harsh because I do believe that like reading should just be for fun, and if something is fun to read, then go for it. Like you don't need to read things that are literary or difficult to read or educational. You just need to read for fun. But like this is just so badly written, but it is fun. So who am I to judge? So that's like my overall gripe with this book. And then my specific gripes with this book. The first thing is that like everything happens so fast. Like literally they've only met like twice, and then he's like banging on her doorstep being like, oh my god, I need to sleep with you, you know, I can't get you out of my head. And like, you've only met her twice, calm down, like you can't be in love with her. Everything happens so, and like even the friendships just happen so fast that it just doesn't feel realistic at all. I recently read Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and that felt more realistic because it was just better paced, whereas the pacing in this is just so bad. Like everything just happens so fast. I don't get it. Also, the other thing that specifically really annoys me is that obviously in present day we're dealing with this boy Ryle, and then we're getting these like flashbacks to her relationship with this guy called Atlas that happened when she was younger. But the way they're doing that is by her reading her diary from when she was like 15, 16, and we get the diary entries, and it's just painful because like, look, if you read my diary entries from when I was 15, 16, they are painful to read. They are badly written, they are cheesy, they are awful. I get that that's what a 15-year-old's diary is like, but I don't want to read it. I would rather we were just getting flashbacks that were better written, because the diary entries are badly written, which I guess is like to make it clear that it's a 15-year-old, but I don't want to read that. I would rather they were just flashbacks. So, look, we came here for a quick, easy read, and it's gonna deliver that, but it's already like, it's just it just makes me laugh because like I'm definitely gonna read it. Like I want, like, it's so easy to read that I'm gonna finish it today, you know. And I probably will read the sequel when it comes out. Like I'm not kidding, like who am I kidding? But yeah, I don't really have much else to say at this point. I will get back to you when I've read some more. I have a bit of time this morning. I think I'm gonna try and read up to part 2 this morning before I get ready for the day. And then I'll update you once I've finished part 1. Okay, so it's a couple of hours later, and I got dressed and ready for the day, and I've also read, I've now finished part 1, I'm up to where it says like part 2, so I thought I would give you an update on my thoughts. I don't even know what to say. The main thing is just that her and Ryle's relationship is so toxic. I mean, it was toxic from the get-go. Like, it was never a healthy relationship. And he's doing that thing where he's like, I don't want to be in a relationship. I just want to hook up with you. I'm bad at relationships. And then he changes his mind and he's like, I want to be with you. But he's like, I told you I'm not very good at relationships. I'm like, you can't use that as an excuse for being a shitty boyfriend. Like, it's not an excuse. That you can't just say, oh. Anyway, so their relationship, like, something has happened in their relationship. This is a mild spoiler, but it's nothing too big, but like he's done something that's abusive. But I guess the question now is like, is he going to keep doing that, or was it a one-off mistake? Because like, if it's a one-off mistake, that's one thing. Like, obviously it wasn't fun, but she's willing to forgive him if it was a one-off thing. But we all know these things are never one-off things, and I have a feeling it's going to keep happening. So that's happened. And then the other thing that's happened is we've met this boy Atlas, who was her childhood love in present time. Like, they've bumped into each other again in present time, and so now he's back in the scene, and he seems lovely. So right now I'm rooting for him. I won't say in this video who she ends up with because I don't want to spoil it in case you want to read this book, but right now he seems great and Ryle seems awful. So that's kind of all I have to say, really. Like, everything is toxic and she should choose Alice. Those are all of my thoughts. Why would they? It's literally been like 3 pages and it just got worse. What? Why is this happening? Oh, I hate it so much. Their relationship has gone from like mildly toxic to like fully abusive. It's just not funny anymore. Like, well, it was never funny, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not. Oh, my love, will you hold me? I feel like Colleen Hoover loves the drama. She's like, we have to have these big life things, and it's just not necessary. We're learning about Ryle's past and the thing he did when he was a child, and it's just unnecessary. It didn't need to be in here. This is such a bad book. And yeah, I want to keep reading it when it's awful. Oh, it's not good writing. It's just like, I'll come back to you when I have some more coherent thoughts once I've read a bit more. Hello. My hair is a bit messy because I just had a shower like an hour ago. I have brushed it, but it's still not quite cooperating. But I finished the book. I actually finished this a couple of days ago now, but I kind of wanted some time to sit on it before I gave you my final thoughts. But I think I'm ready to tell you what my final thoughts are of this book. Oh. I say that, I really don't know what to say. But the thing is, when I see a book like this, I kind of want to go into it expecting it to be, you know, quick, easy reading. Like, as I said, I wanted a moody, steamy romance, and that was like, I was like, I don't care if that's all I get out of this book. But this book is not a fun book to read because it's really heavily about abusive relationships and domestic abuse. Which I knew that was a part of this book, but I didn't realise going into it that that's what this entire book is about. Like, and I don't think enough people talk about that. Like, this book is about domestic abuse. It's not about a happy relationship. It's not a romance story. It's a contemporary story about abuse that happens to have some romance in it, is what I would say. And so when I go to a book like this where I think, oh, it's not the best book, not the best well-written book I've ever read, but you know, it'll be a fun, easy time. This wasn't a fun, easy time because it was about really difficult topics. And even I think it was really interesting that Colleen Hoover put in a like afterword talking about how her own experiences and how this book is shaped by her own experiences of abuse within her family. And she even says, in the past, I've always said I write for entertainment purposes only. I don't write to educate, persuade, or inform. This book is different. This was not entertainment for me. It is the most grueling thing I have ever written. Like, this is not a fun book. And I saw the word Colleen Hoover. I saw the cover. I heard what people have been saying about this kind of book. And I assumed it was a light-hearted, emotional romance. And it's not. Now, the question then, if this isn't a good book for entertainment purposes because it's about some really miserable topics, is it a good representation of those topics? Yes, maybe, on the surface level. I think this is a very surface level, scratching book of domestic abuse. Like, it really just like skims the surface of what that means and what it's like. And it's talking about how, you know, cycles of trauma can continue and how people who grow up in abusive households are more likely to marry abusive partners and things like that. But there are many better books that do it better. I don't think I've read a better fiction book on this topic, but I've read a lot of self-help books and a lot of therapy books that I think talk about this topic better, because what happens in this book is so on the nose, almost. Is that the correct phrase? Whereas I think a lot of the time in abusive relationships, it's a lot more subtle, or as well as there being the big, you know, someone punched me, there's also all of the little things. And what I noticed is their relationship, when it becomes abusive, is like he would punch her and then nothing would happen for 6 months and their relationship would be amazing, and then it would happen again. And I just don't think that's accurate. I think often these things are a lot more subtle. It's much more about like the controlling elements and the way people talk to you, and that wasn't really touched in this book. In this book, it is just like 2 or 3 big events that happen rather than lots of subtle little things, and that just didn't feel realistic to me. So would I recommend this book? Probably not. However, if you're someone who normally reads books like this, like if you only ever read light-hearted romance books and you want something a little bit more serious and something that touches on a more difficult topic, then I can see where the value is in this book. Like, that's who I would recommend this book for. You know, if all you ever read is romance and you're like, I actually want to read something that's a bit more thought-provoking and emotional and a bit more serious, then I would recommend this book. But don't go into this book expecting a romance, and don't go into this book expecting a really thought-provoking account of abuse, because it's a very surface level account, I think, and a good introduction to the conversation of domestic abuse and generational trauma, and maybe like if you read this in a book club or something, it would be a really good conversation starter. But I don't think it went into enough depth to say, oh my god, this is an amazing book to read if you want to learn more about domestic abuse, because it's not, because it's very surface level. So those are my thoughts. Will I read more Colleen Hoover books? I don't know. I have Verity, which I showed you at the start. I really want to read that, but a lot of people said that's very different because it's her only thriller that she's ever written. So I would definitely be reading Verity. Will I read Ugly Love or some more of them? Maybe. But I probably wouldn't recommend this book. But that's harsh. I feel harsh saying that. That's why I'm so conflicted, because I feel harsh saying this is a bad book, because something in me is like, no, it was alright. Like, it's not the worst book, but I just don't think it's... I think I'm going to give it like 3 stars, maybe 3.5 if I'm being generous. I don't really know what else to say. I'm going to stop this video here. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.